Okay. What are you laughing
So what people don't see,
at? Yeah.
and because you're blind, you don't see it either. So when the video plays, we can still see each other at the bottom of our
Oh, you
screen.
can see me. I can't see you.
But you can't see me, but I can see you. So here I am, like I'm dancing to the music, I'm all ready to go. And then there's you.
Yeah.
Because you're just waiting for the.
I'm like waiting for the damn music to start. It's like, all right.
Because I'm waiting for you, like, I'm wearing yellow. Like, how do you not see me moving?
Not looking, not that interested. Sorry.
And that's how my day started.
I see you enough. I don't need to see you dancing.
Right. I'll get my energy up.
So I'm very excited. I'm excited because February's over. I hated February. I hated it. There's
Okay.
nothing like anything about February. I'm so happy it's March. March is like I'm looking forward to it. I don't know why. It was just one of those months that was a struggle to get through for me.
It was a weird one this time because I felt like we kind of went through January and it was like, oh, January is not too bad. You know what? The weather is okay. Living
Yeah.
in Canada, we kind of expect January to be bad, but you know what? January was okay. Then February hit and was like, I'm not okay with February.
February sucked. Sorry guys, February
That's
sucked.
okay.
I'm happy for anyone that had a great time in February. Not me.
Well, and
So
good thing this year we didn't have an extra day. So it actually ended on the 28th as opposed to the,
yeah,
29th. We didn't get that extra day.
yeah.
Leap years when February is bad are not good. So
Yeah. I
I
don't
swept
know.
up.
Like sometimes, and it's okay. You get through it, right? But it's all right. You just have to say, all right, that month's done. Let's get back. I mean, it's not like we didn't do anything. We worked our butts off this month.
Yeah.
We had so much going on. So many new students came into the mastermind, and lots and lots. And we added a couple new cool things. It's just, it was just a weird, weird month.
Exactly. So we're kicking off March 1st. Happy to St. David's Day, by the way. It is nobody knows what that is ever. So St.
My God.
David's Day is to Wales what St. Patrick's Day is to Ireland. So huge celebrations in Wales today. But because my heritage and my grandfather had a Welsh flag over his house, we very much celebrate St. David's Day every year. So
Okay. And what did St. David do?
I don't know.
Oh. Drank a
He's the
lot?
patron saint of Wales. I don't know the story. I just know it exists.
Okay.
I'm a really good Welsh woman.
I always love everyone's like, yay, it's a holiday, but nobody ever knows what the holiday's about.
Well, it's like St. Patrick's Day. Like everyone celebrates St. Patrick's Day. And it's like, do you even know anything about St. Patrick? Do you know, are you Irish? No. We just all celebrate as a reason to drink beer.
Green beer. That's all I know.
That's all. Exactly. That's all anybody ever does for St.
We should
Patrick's.
just make up our own holiday.
No one would know.
See if it catches on.
In February.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
So this month is a really exciting one coming up, and I think, I'm just obsessed with all the AI stuff going on.
Oh my God. It's crazy.
It's like you can't, like, every day there's something new, and I keep like sending stuff to you, and I send stuff to Spencer, and I'm just like blown away by all the stuff out there and really excited and embracing it because I don't believe it's going to take away jobs. I believe it's going to make your life a lot easier. So,
Well, I mean, look what happened, right? We came up with computers, and computers were supposed to replace humans. It was supposed to replace jobs.
Right.
Didn't go. Printers were supposed to be like in the dark ages because we all went paperless. Well, no, what happened with computers? And we could save stuff. We print more.
yeah.
So, and jobs are more because of computers. So I think AI, I think you're right.
Well, I think AIs, like, I believe that, people are pushing for the 4-day work week, which I'm a component of. I hope that my kids or my grandkids, eventually, I don't have any grandkids, will be able to have a 3-4-day work week because that's
absolutely.
It's just like ours is 5. People before us, were working 7 days. You know what I mean? Like there was no, or at least 6. So it's gotten better, but And I think that if we want to get to that 4-day work week, I think AI has got to take all the crappy jobs, and then people will be able to work 4 days, less hours. Some of the stuff is just cool, you
Yeah.
know.
Again, it's all about working smarter, not harder, right? Like actually taking the information, knowing how to use it, saving time,
Yep.
writing.
Yeah, it just
It's gonna be good.
everything. It's just everything. Like there's, I was watching some interesting stuff on, if you want to have a specific picture, you want a
Oh
tiger
yeah.
with a sunset in the background, AI can make it for you, right? Like there's just so
Yeah.
many like cool things that, don't really exist. You have to go to a graphic artist, and I don't think graphic artists are. I think they too will benefit because then they're going to get higher quality people that want their work, and
Right.
not ridiculous people that try to undercut them because they don't even know the quality of, like, you cannot replace the quality of a graphic artist with AI,
Right.
but
Like the
AI is
people
able to
who
do
would
some
go
stuff.
and use Canva and just use their templates and put it out, they're not ones to hire a graphic artist anyway. The people who
Yeah.
want to hire a graphic artist are specific, they want original content, they want high quality, all of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to change either.
Yeah. So it's exciting. There's so many things going out there right now that like it's hard to even keep up. So I'm still committed to doing. We want to do a master class on it, and the reason we're just and I know there's tons of them. Just so you guys know, if you like, you're gonna trip over the people that are offering them. But wait a little bit. I'm gonna wait another month before we do ours. Why? Because I want someone to watch ours and have the full complement of everything's out there, and everything is changing by the day. It's a
It's
little bit
too
too early.
I was just going to say, if you do a master class, if you watch a master class today, literally tomorrow it's going to be outdated. Like it's happening
Yeah.
so fast. It needs to level off a little bit before we
Yes.
dive into some training because we
Yeah.
don't want it to just the
Yeah.
next day turn on its head.
And we don't want people, like, we want to give you, like, it'll be part of our masterminds as well, but we
Yeah.
want to give you the step by step, and not just say, hey, go try this out or go try this
Yeah.
out.
Or
We want
here's
to
the
say,
cool site or
yeah,
whatever.
we want to say this works great, this is how you do it, this is how it will work in your business, which
Well,
is the
and to say, like, we've kind of tested all of these, and actually, this one is great for this purpose. This is great for this purpose. And that's
yeah,
what we're kind of weeding through right now. Like, some of them are really good at writing bios, some of them are really good at writing paragraphs and copy, some of them are really good at writing full blog posts and articles.
right,
So, it really depends on what you need it for. I think
yeah,
that's where we're going to get to, is that
yeah.
different ones have different needs.
Well, so one, I was reading an article yesterday. Somebody had put into Chat GPT, can you do a 20-minute plan for exercising something? I can't remember what it was, and they literally it wrote out a 20-minute plan. They gave it to their fitness coach, and the fitness coach said, actually, it's really good. It's
No
just
way.
the what you can't get, and this is kind of, that's why I said you have to wait till it's a little more, when it's really fully developed, is that they don't take into account you know what I mean,
Right.
like what
Well,
you're
that's
capable
the
of.
internet in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the fact that it did it, or this other article about, hey, here are my 4 ingredients, can you figure out a recipe for me?
That's cool. That's what I need.
And I was like, that is so cool. So look in
I'm
your
in.
fridge, find out what you have. Say you have, you have eggs and cheese and chives or something. And then, like, it says, oh, I'll make this omelet or something. It'll tell you what to make with it, which I think is like cool. I'm starting to feel like remember those futuristic movies where people would walk into, like Blade Runner or something. You walk into your home and you would just talk, and it would be there, and you would ask it.
The Jetsons.
The Jetsons, which was my favorite cartoon ever. But they predicted all that stuff, right? Except, I liked it. Remember, the food came in the conveyor
I
belt,
love that.
right? And I want
Yeah.
a Rosie. I want Rosie. Who
Oh
used
my
to-
goodness, was she not the best? Yeah, and I think the only thing that's not in existence is the flying vehicles and sort
Yeah,
of the
those
space restaurants.
yeah, I like those space restaurants. They were cool. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's a really interesting thing. So I think, I mean, the message that I want to make sure everyone gets today is to not be scared of it and to embrace it and go, oh wow, this is cool. How can I use it? And don't be afraid that you have to integrate it today. You don't. But it will change what you're doing in any business that you have. It doesn't matter what you do. If you have bricks and mortar, if you're online, if you work for corporate, it doesn't matter what you do. It will make things life a lot easier. Just like you remember, a million years ago, when the only presentation software was PowerPoint, and it was really hard, right? Like, and it was ugly. I mean, it was okay, but that's all it did. And it took like a week, right, to do a presentation minimum. It took a week.
Oh, it took so, because it was so hard. Yeah.
So hard. And now it's like, you need a presentation, you can, like, put it up in, like, an hour, and you can use anything, whatever. There's a million different softwares out there to use, drag and drop. It's really simple. You can record on the fly. So, things change really rapidly, and I'm all for it. And when people say they're scared, I'm like, just think about how it will make your life easier. So embrace it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? Take time to just try it out. Like, we've done that. We're just like, oh, I wonder what happens when I say this, or I put this in there, and then it spits out information. You go, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, perfect. Love it.
So what's going on with you? Anything new?
Well, I spoke at PodCamp over the weekend.
Yeah. How did that go?
You know what? It was really good. Interesting type of conference. It wasn't, so when we go to a conference, you kind of expect a lot of people to be like hanging out in the hallways, and, you get a lot of time to network and stuff like that. But they sort of structure it that it's like, there's a session that's like every hour on the hour. So it's like, this one's from 10 to 11. The next one, you've got 5 minutes to switch rooms and go to your next one and stuff. So there wasn't a lot of networking piece, but a lot of really interesting conversations. So I held back. So one of the advantages that I have being a speaker is that I get to connect with other speakers.
Right.
So when they're done, it's like, oh, I'm going to your session later. Are you coming to my session? Kind of thing, which is really funny. And I ended up having sort of deeper conversations from that perspective. So like one guy with like really high tech stuff in regards to IABs and tracking like all the different like stats and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of geeked out on that for a bit. But so in my session, I proposed a different concept about community first, podcast second. A lot of people were talking about don't rush the podcast launch date. Make sure you do it right, which I absolutely agree on. A huge conversation in multiple sessions about numbers. A lot of people really need to know that, like, cut and dry. What does it look like in order to get advertising? What does it look like to monetize? What does it look like to, be approved to join a podcast network? All of that kind of stuff. A lot of really, so I'll talk about that. So I'm actually doing a masterclass tomorrow. Our Master Monthly is tomorrow. It's on podcasting. So I'm bringing all the juicy details from the conference to the masterclass tomorrow. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good class. So you guys make sure you join us. If you're even remotely considering doing podcasting, or if you've done it and it just didn't go so well.
Maybe. I have that story as well. I have my failed podcast. Or you just want to be on a podcast, because that's the other piece. What I'm finding is a lot of people are going, oh, my coach told me that I should be guests on podcasts. I'm like, hang on. Before you do that, do you understand the podcasting space? Right. Do you understand what that looks like? And then, interviewing and all that kind of stuff. So the only other conversation that I had at the very end of mine. So I decided, because when my session was at the end of the day. So mine was the last on Saturday. So I decided that I would actually sort of shorten my presentation, because I wanted to give them some extra time, because they were downloading our app. On the like in that moment kind of thing. And that tomorrow. People have questions and all of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to give them time for that. But during that process, the biggest question that came up to me that ended up being a really interesting group conversation was, is the industry flooded with apps that you can connect with in communities and all of that kind of stuff? So that became a really interesting conversation, because what they wanted to know was why we went to doing our own app, which would be yet another place for someone to go to, versus doing a community that's already in existence in like a Facebook community or a LinkedIn or Discord or all of those other things. What was the point of that? So it was a great conversation.
And your answer was?
Well, our answer is that we want to serve our community. That was the big thing. We want to be there for our community. We can't serve a community that's not on a particular platform. I can't serve our community of people who are not on Facebook. I can't serve our community if they're not on LinkedIn, right? And they're going, well, I'd love to be part of your community, but I'm not on Facebook. I'd love to be part of your community, but I'm not on LinkedIn. I'm not on Discord. I'm not on, whatever the case may be. We can't serve our community if they're not in our community. So as soon as I said that, they're like, oh, that actually makes sense. People can come to our community and they can access all the training, they can access all the groups, they can access all the free, clubs that we have and network with people in our group. Like, we can't put it on Facebook and expect people to see it. It doesn't work like that anymore.
And I think it's, for most of us, we're just exhausted with all the communities unless they're specific, right? So people know if they want to come talk to us or they want our information, they know to go to our stuff. Like, they don't have to try to weed through everything else. But like I'm probably a member of everything, like you, right? We're a member of every single networking, social networking thing anywhere
on the planet, literally,
or like everything you can think of, we're on. I don't remember to check because there's too many. But if I want specific information because I know that person has it, it's way easier if I go to that group. The nice thing too is when you come into our community, you can ask us questions directly. And I'll tell you what's really frustrating. I'm not going to mention a name, but somebody was selling something last week, a software program. And I follow him once in a while. And so he's, autoresponder after autoresponder. And so one of the autoresponders is that he's selling this software and with this specific use. And I said, well, the problem is he's not showing that use.
Right.
Like, you see everything else but the use that, he says. So, which would be the only interesting thing for me. So I actually emailed him directly and I just said, hey, I don't know if your VA is reading it or whatever. There's nowhere, nobody does their Facebook group. Nobody answers there. So, so I emailed him and I said, hey, looks interesting and I'd like to take a look, but there's nowhere where I can even see a screenshot of the use that you're reporting. Right. And it was 4 days later that I got a really crappy answer back from probably one of his sales. Like, one of those, when you get an email that it's all like cut and pasted.
Hi, insert name here.
Well, and the fonts don't match and the paragraphs, I hate that. It just looks so trashy. And they're like, and then they sent me like these little clipped screenshots, right? Like, I guess it was a VA or something. And they were awful. And that's not what I expected. And I expected, I said, I'd love to, if it's good, I will share it with our community. And so when you say that and you have an established community, it doesn't matter who you are, you would take that seriously, right?
Absolutely.
And I just thought, wow, like, I expected him to just send a note that said, hey, thanks for your just sorry about that. Here's what we do. Like, I don't want to get some junior cut and paste artist.
Well, anybody can cut and paste paragraphs.
Yeah. So that's the thing with our community. When people ask us questions and, you can join the community for free. Mm-hmm. So when people ask questions, we answer them. We don't pawn them off to our VA because that's not their job. The VA's job is not to answer strategic questions. Their job is to answer like, how do I
General.
do this, or how do
Yeah,
I, what
exactly.
I mean? So it's fascinating that that people don't understand that that's part of the. I can't really tell you how many communities are really that engaging.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, I'm trying
Exactly.
to think of them, and I don't really know. I mean, I know our Kajabi does a pretty good job. That's one of our hosting
Yeah.
providers. I think they answer questions fairly quickly. You can talk to their chat. They're very good on that front. But I'm just shocked at how many don't have communities where you can actually ask questions from people that know the answers. Because there's nothing
Right.
worse.
That's the
Right?
challenge. Yeah. I
Nothing worse
feel
than
like they
well, there's
set up
nothing
a
worse than asking a question for a tech from a tech or somebody in the community, and you know more than them.
right. Or what ends up happening is they set up a Facebook group because that's where they're going to run their community.
Yeah.
And then they rely on group members to answer that question, even though you're the leader of that particular group. So if there's communities, I remember when I had a group that was dedicated to LinkedIn, when that's all I did was LinkedIn training. And other people were like, no, I'm not going to answer this question because I know, like, and then I would jump in, obviously, pretty
Yeah.
quickly. But that's what people expect. And I think the answer of expectation, the
Yeah.
timeliness of answering is
Yeah.
very like short, right? Like they expect answers pretty quickly.
Well, yeah. If they had answered me that same day, I probably would have bought it. I didn't. I let it go. I didn't buy
Right.
it. I probably
Yeah.
would have bought it because I was like, oh, I'll try it out, see if it's good for our community members, because we like to be able to promote things that will make their lives easier. But I guess I was disappointed that no
Yeah.
one came back to me on that. I mean, we try very hard. We have a live Q&A for our premium members every single week. So you can ask us live if you join us. It's a Zoom call, and you join us, and you can ask us anything you need to live. So that alone is worth being a premium member in a community, because you can, like, if he had that and I could have gone and asked him,
Right.
I would have got
Exactly.
the answer, right? But there's no way. And sometimes people are funny about removing themselves from, as they say, the common folk, right? um,
Yeah.
and if you like, I know there's I've talked about it before on this. I've talked to CEOs who have responded immediately when I've had requests and stuff. I will tell you, since we're talking about it, I had such a challenge last week with Paramount Plus.
Oh,
Um, I'm obviously a subscriber. Great. I love the shows and everything. And then one day, it got hacked. Because I got an email from Paramount, and it said, just confirming that you changed your email login, which obviously I didn't. I
obviously you did.
responded, not lie, I responded within 1 minute because I happened to be on the computer. So I responded, I said, absolutely not. Please revert it. Right. And I couldn't get anyone to answer me back. So
Really?
if you guys are following me on Twitter, you'll see my tweets last week. It took 6 days, and I'm not going to lie to you. I did probably 20 emails.
Oh my
You
goodness.
cannot. You cannot. Here's the thing about Paramount Plus. I hope they're listening. Let's SEO this. You cannot. First of all, if you're anywhere but the U.S., you can't talk to anyone in person.
Oh,
And then if you chat to the US, they can't talk to you because you're international. And they have to put it to their team, who they have no capability. There's no phone numbers.
that's
There's no email.
crazy.
And so I literally blasted, and then they said, then their things were contact us here. So I sent them 5 or 6 messages on each platform: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And I copied all of their anything I could think of. I went to LinkedIn, sent notes to the CEO, the president of global, like, you name it. No responses except forms, and the only that your case is under review. Once we reset it, we will let you know. 6 days, and I counted 50. I did 50 interactions,
That's insane.
and then
That
all
is insane.
after the sixth day, sorry, they sent me, here, go ahead and change your password. And that was it. No, like, we're apologizing. We'll give you a credit for the week nothing. The worst customer service I think I can.
Wow.
Shocking. So, and
Wow.
then if you look up, it's really cool. If you look up Paramount Plus reviews, everyone trashes it. I finally chatted with a US person. They said, try sending a contact to CBS and Viacom, their parent. So I went on, and guess this is the truth. I went on to their contact forms. Their contact forms wouldn't work. They couldn't submit. Error. They couldn't submit.
That's hysterical.
Even their customer service reps know they're terrible. Like,
That's nuts.
she's like, I wish I could do something. You know what she's told me? She said, send a note to CBS about their reviewing their show. She goes, because they all read those. And I'm like, okay. So I did it, and I picked this really popular show because I figured,
why not?
Nothing. So there
that
you go.
Is absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Totally ridiculous. Not one person responded. It was just like they just don't care. And so that's like, don't be that person, right? So that's why if you have a community like we do, that you can actually ask us questions, right? And get the answers. You know, if their login screwed up, we're going to fix it right away. We're not going to wait 6-7 days. They're paying, right? It's a paying customer.
Exactly. So, that's crazy.
I know I love to vent. This is my venting platform. It's just, I love to point at really stupidly bad service. And that is probably the worst.
That's crazy.
I don't think I've ever done that many, like usually the leadership team responds, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm okay if somebody can. So I had an issue with a company a couple of months ago. Went, couldn't get an answer, contacted a bunch of people, couldn't get an answer, did the trick, sent the message via LinkedIn. And within 4 hours, I had his assistant send me a note and then call me. Yeah. And it's like, this is what we're going to do to fix the problem. So it's like, and what I told her, and I was quite nice about it. I was actually quite happy that they took action. But what I was telling her was, this shouldn't be the source that I need to go to. You shouldn't be dealing with this. This is not your job.
No, that's why I'm shocked, because LinkedIn always works. This is the first time that LinkedIn did not work, because LinkedIn, when you message somebody who's, and I message several, right? Who's the head
I know, we always do.
They answer, right? Somebody will answer, always has. And I've talked to the head of Apple, like you name it, big companies that respond very quickly. But for some reason, these guys, I guess they live in La La Land, for lack of
La La Land, exactly.
And they just don't care. It's fascinating.
But speaking of Apple, though, so I had purchased something by mistake. I guess I must have trying to click away, and I that never happens to me, but it happened this time. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I didn't mean to do that. Because when you have your credit card saved, it just kind of goes through the process. And Apple was great. I clicked the button, requested the refund. I purchased it by mistake. They responded right away. No problem. We love them.
That's it. Yeah. That's customer service. And that's what we hope. That's what we try to do with ourselves in Mastermind City, that we want to get anything you have answered. If you have any questions, we're going to go ahead and do it and figure that out for you. So it's really important. Your whole speech was on community and building podcasts through community, which is, you're going to talk about more tomorrow as well.
Talk about more tomorrow. And I'm going to also bring the trends. So we talked about a lot more between my talk, the talks I attended, and the conversations that I had with the speakers. I really wanted to kind of get the lay of the land for 2023. And there has been some changes in podcasting. So I'm going to bring that to our workshop tomorrow.
And we have some really exciting news. So you have to join if you are remotely thinking of wanting to start a podcast, but you have no idea and you're afraid of everything, of tech, of putting it up, of making a cover picture, anything you're afraid of, you're going to want to join us tomorrow because really exciting stuff happening.
It is. Okay. Well, on that note, we will see